Today we embark on an Alaska cruise with Hannah's family. We leave out of Seattle, and on the way north we will hit Ketchikan, Juneau, and Skagway. We will be on the Princess Discovery, and we have excursions planned in all three port of calls. There is technically a fourth port on this venture, but we ended up not stopping there for weather reasons, not to get ahead of myself. First, we visit the Pike's Market in Seattle. This is my first time in Seattle, and I have never seen this iconic place that includes the first Starbucks and the internet-famous fish-throwing market. After a couple hours here, it was time to get on the boat. After a bit of time establishing ourselves in the room and checking into our muster point, which is where we're supposed to gather in case of emergency, we sat out on deck, enjoying the drink package, and explored the ship a bit. Soon enough, it was time for dinner. Hannah's brother came in clutch and made reservations for us every night at 5:40 in the Skagway dining room. I highly recommend this, as the line for the dining room could get long, and we were able to finish in time for the 7:30 shows. Also, the food here was delicious, and I tried to get something different every time so I could try it all. Day 2, the day after embarkation, was a day at sea. These can be tough if you're eager to get to your shore excursions, but we were able to fill the day with some onboard activities, like water poloing versus the officers, a footloose dance class, and a Battle of the Sexes game show. And then, after dinner, this happened. Which made me the luckiest guy on the boat for the rest of the trip. Day 3 was our first port of call. After a little bit of buffet breakfast, we disembarked and started exploring the town of Ketchikan, as we had some time before our excursion started. There were several ships here in port with us, one of which had left from Seattle minutes before us. We ended up seeing this ship in every port, as I recall. Ketchikan had long been a fishing camp for the native peoples, and became an official U.S. town as a saltery, cannery, and general store, indicative of the long-standing fishing culture here. We eventually made our way over to the excursion, a Zodiac, or Rib, eco-tour out on the channels surrounding the town. After getting suited up in our rain gear, we boarded the vessel and set off. This excursion was amazing. We almost became tired of all the bald eagles we were seeing. At one point, I counted 25 in view at a single time. The surrounding mountains were stunning, and we learned a lot about the local ecosystem.
You can take a look. They're powered by hydraulics, and his mouth is right there, and they don't have...
We also saw harbor seals, making this my first time seeing wild pinnipeds. But these ones I'll save for you to see on your own visit to Alaska. After the tour, we made our way back to the boat for dinner and the evening shows. The next morning, day 4, we would be stopping in Juneau. But first, the ship took a detour into a fjord to try to get a viewing of a glacier. Unfortunately, the icebergs calving off the glacier made sailing up into the fjord too dangerous, and we were not able to make it all the way. After docking and disembarking in Juneau, we had some time to explore the town a bit before our excursion. There were a lot of little native artifact art souvenir shops here that we enjoyed looking around in, but nothing we needed to buy. We also considered taking the gondola, but for $50 a person to be crammed in there like sardines, we decided against it. Eventually, it was time to go on our excursion. We would be doing a dog sled summer camp tour. This is where dogs that compete in dog sled racing in the wintertime come to train in the summertime. It is a win-win for everyone involved. The summer training camp makes money off our tours and from the dog sled teams paying for the camp. The sled dog teams get a cut of our tour money, and they get good summer training for their dogs. And we get to learn about the teams, the dogs, and the whole system of dog sled racing. These dogs were absolutely amazing. Our musher was a girl named Jessie, with her own kennel called This. Shout out Aimagovic sled team. She, and these dogs, will be competing in the Iditarod in the next year or two. Jessie was very pleasant to talk to, did a really good job of explaining the system, and her dogs were very impressive to watch. These dogs just absolutely love running. They get so excited when we pulled up because they know it means that it is time to run. After the excursion, we returned to the boat and got ready for a special dinner this night. We paid for reservations in one of the premium dining rooms called The Crown, which is a steakhouse. This was absolutely worth it for an extra $30 or so per person. The service was stellar and the food was top notch. I highly recommend this on a Princess cruise at least one night if you can.
Alright, it is day 5. We are in Skagway. And today we are taking jeeps up into the Yukon in Canada. So we're going to cross the border and then continue on up that way. We just got off the boat. It's pretty early. It's like probably 7, 8 o'clock. And we will be going to get the jeeps now.
Eventually, we made it all the way up here to Emerald Lake, and the views the whole way were obviously stunning. The Jeep tour included an audio guide who talks about the area and various points of interest along the way. On the way back down, we stopped at something called the Caribou Trading Post in Carcross, Yukon territory. This was an interesting mix of taxidermy exhibit, RCMP museum, and petting zoo.
Hey, little guy.
But we had a good time nonetheless. Oh, and also, this is when my GoPro decided to die for the day. You'll be happy to know we made it back to the ship in one piece.
Go around and see the animals, the taxidermied animals.
Skagway was our very last port of call. Ipso facto, day 6 was a day at sea. We were supposed to visit Victoria, Canada this evening for a late port of call, but rough seas forced the captain to abandon this docking for safety reasons. So, we did onboard activities like professional ice sculpting, a game show, and an egg drop that I joined last minute and did not have good supplies for. Clearly. Also, I will take this time to shout out Corey. He was our favorite performer on the boat for the entire cruise. Usually performing in the Crooner's Bar, he was our go-to bedtime routine after dinner and the 7:30 show every night. Back in Seattle on day 7, it was time for disembarkation. After a quick breakfast, we were packed and ready to get off the boat. Unfortunately, the line to get off the boat literally wrapped around the entire deck. After about 20 minutes, however, we got through it and off the boat. Thank you for joining us on this adventure on a Princess Alaska cruise. See you on the next one.